who's funding all the terror in the Middle East. Iran has two options: bleed out financially, which is what we did last time Trump was in the White House, cutting it all off, sanctions, everything, or get your head together, come to the table, stop funding terrorism, stop building nuclear weapons, and beg for mercy. Those are the options. Bad news for Iran. Biden is gone, and American foreign policy is once again intelligent. All right, Dr. Gad Saad is a visiting professor and global ambassador at Northwood University in Michigan, and he joins us now. Sir, it's good to have you back on. You were born in Lebanon. You understand how dangerous Islam can be in the West. Our president here is making some very serious moves to try and confront this, and I wonder what your thoughts on that are.
Well, look, a lot of people wrote to me on social media that, oh, how could you be for what Donald Trump is doing? Aren't you supposed to be the free speech absolutist? It's got nothing to do with free speech. I am Jewish, as you said, from Lebanon, and yet I support the right of Holocaust deniers to spew their nonsense. That's not what's happening on university campuses. University campuses are fostering a very hostile environment to Jews, right? Not Israeli soldiers, right? Anybody who walks around with the Star of David is harassed, demeaned, threatened, insulted. I've had to take a leave of absence from my home university in Montreal because of the death threats and the Jew hatred that I received. This has nothing to do with free speech. The First Amendment doesn't protect you from you engaging in direct incitement of violence against me.
Isn't it amazing? I mean, these universities are places that I feel like we've largely surrendered to the left and have done so for the last at least couple decades in this country. And it's really incredible to me to see how far they've fallen. I mean, when I see these videos and you've got 50 or 100 kids standing at Columbia University basically screaming that we need to kill the Jews. You know, they're saying there's only one solution, and that's an intifada, which is let's go kill a bunch of Jews. I mean, they do this they're very comfortable doing this. And that's just how that's the deterioration we've seen on these campuses.
And again, I mean, look, it's great that Donald Trump is doing what he's doing. It's certainly better than the previous administration, but frankly, it's a Band-Aid solution, right? So to deport a student with a foreign visa who is screaming pro-Hamas stuff is a certainly good first start. But to remind you of the old maxim, demography is destiny. And so the ultimate measure of whether a society survives or not is whether its citizens all agree on its foundational values. And regrettably, if you let in millions of people who don't share your foundational deontological values on which the American experiment is based on, you will eventually lose your civilization. It might take 20 years, it might take 50 years, but inshallah, as we say in the Middle East, you will lose it. So be careful.
Yeah, and there's no we're not asking for integration anymore either. You know, I mean, it's a whole different. We bring in people from all over the world, and they kind of just continue their own culture. They're not adopting kind of the American culture, the American way of life. We're not asking for that anymore. My mother's family came here from another country, and all the men changed their names to American names. This is 40, 50 years ago. It was just that was expected at one point, because when you came here, you were expected to be an American, and people came here, they wanted to be an American. And I think when we lost that was a lot of the problem.
Yeah, and to refer to one of the parasitic ideas that I discussed in one of my earlier books, The Parasitic Mind, it's cultural relativism that allows us to become impotent against some of these values that people bring in from other cultures, right? It is not okay to cut off the clitorises of 5-year-old girls, and you should be proud in saying that we will not tolerate that in our society. If you wish to practice that, stay in your own countries and abide by our rules. Otherwise, you're not welcome here. It really is that simple.
Dr. Gad Saad, great conversation. Thank you, sir. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Cheers.